Okay guys, so I got the Toyota outside. Going to take a little break from that. And I got something a little different inside. So I'll show you what I got going on. Got my 93 S10 in. Some of you have probably seen this in other videos. I took it for a little drive in one of them. But if not, it is a 93 285 speed. It's basically all stock other than being bagged. And it does lay frame with factory inner fender wells and heat AC and uncut bed floor. And I get a lot of questions on the setup on this thing. So I'm gonna get the bed pulled off and I'll show you how I did it while the bed's off. But the reason for it being inside, this weekend I'm going to take about a 3-hour road trip. My buddy Johnny Johnson, he has a hardcore S10 on YouTube and Facebook. He's having a S10 meet at his house. So I'm going to make my way down there. But basically I built this truck about 3 years ago and I've done almost no maintenance to it since. And it's my daily driver almost. I do park it in the wintertime. But it's in need of a couple easy repairs before we hit the road. So that's kind of the plan. I'm going to do an oil change, check over everything, check all the fluids, get it jacked up, check all the brakes. It has new front brake pads, but they're the noisiest pads I've ever heard. So going to yank those off, replace them, check over all suspension, ball joints, tie rods, make sure we're good. Like I said, I'll be pulling the bed off. I'll show you the link setup while it's off. But the reason for pulling it off is to replace the air tank. And I won't show you just yet, but there's some shady stuff going on that air tank. So don't think any less of me when you do see it. I'm not proud of it. But that's kind of where we're at with it. And then get all that handled, get it detailed, buffed, and we'll hit the road. So for now, get this thing jacked up on jack stands, get the wheels off, and start there. All right guys, got it up in the air, so I'll show you what it got going on, because I do get a lot of questions about what I'm running on this truck. So it's just Firestone 2600 pound bag, Airride Tech tubular upper and lower control arms, 2-inch drop spindle. I did put the sway bar back on, but I'm not running any front shocks. And I also forgot to mention the exhaust on this truck is a mess right now, so I'll be working on that also. But first, I'm going to jump to these front brake pads. As you can see, they are like new, but they're just so noisy, I can't handle it. So I'm going to replace them real quick. And if you've never done brake pads, a lot of them are set up like this. But all you gotta do, these pins here, the caliper actually slides on that. We're gonna pull those pins. The caliper will slide off the bracket. We'll slap new pads on it and bolt it back together. Okay guys, got a little part. Show you how to do this in case there's any new guys watching. Never did brakes before. All you'll have is these pins and bushings. Bushings fit in the holes and pins go through there, and that caliper actually floats on there So once it's bolted to the spindle, it's free to move back and forth. And these slides sometimes freeze up. So while they're off, I'm going to hit them with a wire wheel, put some Never Seez on it. If you've never used Never Seez, make sure you use a ton of it and get it all over your hands. And so I'll get those cleaned up. And then the piston on the caliper here, that actually, when you hit the brake pedal, it pushes out. That's what pinches your brake pads, pinches the rotor. And as the brake pads wear, that piston comes out farther and farther. So to get the new, thicker, new brake pads back on, you gotta push that piston back in. And one easy way to do it is just take one of your old brake pads, slam it up in there, get a C-clamp, open it, and pinch it on there, clamp it shut, and it'll push that piston back in. Throw your new pads on, throw your nice new bushings and pins back in, and it'll be good to go. Alright guys, show you what you should end up with real quick for any new guys watching. Like I said, I cleaned up the pins and bushings on the bench grinder on the wire wheel, and hit them with Never Seez, and just get as much as you possibly can on everything, smear it everywhere. You'll thank me later. And push the piston back in, threw the new brake pads in, everything slammed back together, no problem. So pretty simple. So I'll jump to the other side and get it done, and then on to the next thing. Alright guys, so both sides slammed together. So in case you didn't know how to do brake pads, there you go. Super easy. But like I said, the secret is all in the anti-seize. If you don't use a full bottle on a brake job, you did something wrong. Just make sure you slam it all over everything, gob it on there as thick as you can. Wipe some on your dog, and hey, can't go wrong. Alright, so next, I want to check all the suspension components. Just a good thing to do before a road trip. How I like to do it, I'm going to throw the front wheels back on, and with it in the air, grab the wheel, the tire, rock it this way. If you feel any clunks, any movement, anything loose, it's going to be in the steering, either be inner, outer tie rod end, pitman arm, idler arm, something in the steering. Going to grab it top and bottom, rock it. If there's any movement, it could be loose wheel bearing, possibly in the ball joints. But a good way to check the ball joints is with a tire on. Get a big pry bar between the floor and the tire and rock it back and forth, up and down. And if either of the ball joints are loose, most of the time you will be able to feel it clunk when you lift on that tire. I think everything on this truck's pretty good. I haven't felt anything loose or no weird noises. But like I said, it's just a good idea to check all this stuff before a road trip. So that's what I do. Alright guys, so I checked everything on suspension. I didn't find anything, didn't suspect anything of being loose on it. I checked all the fluids, topped everything off. All the normal stuff you do before a road trip. So now I'm going to jump to the exhaust. And if you can see that spring and bolt, it's kind of bent. And it's not allowing this downpipe to seat against the exhaust donut like it should. That happened, I caught the exhaust pulling out my driveway, caught on a curb, and yanked it backwards a little bit. So I may try heating those and see if I can bend them back and get that gasket sitting a little better. If not, I'll try heating them, spinning them out, and replacing them. But if they don't want to come out, I'm not going to worry about it right now because I don't feel like snapping one of those off right before a road trip. So, see what I can do with it. Okay, so I got this all apart. Show you what I got. And it actually came apart a lot easier than I thought. Both spun right out, but they are bent. And the exhaust donut is shot, blown apart. So nothing I can do with that tonight. Get parts for that tomorrow. So I'm going to jump to the back and get this bed off. Alright guys, so I got the bed off. Give you a look at this rear setup because it is what I get asked about the most on this truck is how does it lay frame with an uncut bed floor. And what I'm running is a Air Ride Tech bolt-on 3-link. Just has the 2 lower bars and this upper wishbone. And stock, these systems, the setup, it won't lay out on anything bigger than I think a 21, 22 inch tire, which is really small. You still have to run a small tire. I'm running a 195/60/15, which is about 24 inches tall. And you got to modify this setup a little bit. So stock, it comes with a big clamp that just clamps around this gas tank cross member. And it actually clamps right over top the drive shaft, which doesn't allow you to then notch this cross member, which you have to do. So I just welded on a piece of angle iron and a couple of tabs instead of running that clamp that it comes with. Then I was able to notch right there at the gas tank cross member. And another thing you have to do is the shocks. These tabs are usually out farther. These shocks sit up more upright from the factory. So I cut those off, moved them in so I could slant the shocks down a little more. And just running a little baby notch in there. And that's pretty much what I do. And it barely lays out, but it does. And then other than that, just running 2 Viair 280s and a skinny 5-gallon tank. And it all fits under the bed. And some old school Mac valves right behind the bumper. But that's what I'm running. So if you have any more questions about it, just comment. I'll try to answer them for you. But right now, I'm going to get this gas tank ripped off, and I'll show you what's so shady about it. What I've been running for a year and a half now, and like I said, not proud of it, but I'll show you guys anyways. Okay, so I'm replacing the air tank because it's got a rust hole in the bottom of it. Not sure why it rusted out. But there's actually another pretty embarrassing thing I forgot about on this. Apparently, when I installed it, I didn't have spacers, so I grabbed a bunch of sockets. Whatever, it worked. Probably leave them on there. And the other one that I've been talking about, and don't do this, but I went to Home Depot one day, did some shopping, came back, and the air tank was completely empty, crawled underneath. That's when I found the rust hole, and pretty much stranded there. And mind you, this was a year and a half ago. That's the most embarrassing part. But I went inside, grabbed some JB Weld, and JB welded a penny over the hole as a temporary fix a year and a half ago. 10,000 miles ago. Yeah. But it held. So, whatever. But that's what we got. I kind of out of parts for the night. So, grabbing another air tank tomorrow. Grab all the exhaust parts tomorrow. And get this thing back together and start getting it cleaned up. Hi guys, we're back in the shop. Got this pretty girl with us today. And picked up the new to me air tank. Mount's a little different from the old one. So get started. Going to cut these brackets off, get them moved over, welded back on, and get everything buttoned up on the back of this thing. Okay, so I got this new air tank installed. Maybe not the cleanest install, but just using parts I had in my random fitting box over there. And got the job done with no human interaction. So that's a win-win. So I'm going to jump to the front. Got new bolts and exhaust donut. So get that exhaust slammed back on, get the truck started up, make sure we have no air leaks, everything's good to go, and we'll get the bed back on. Okay, so there it is back on the ground. Hopefully helped a few people out because I do get a lot of questions about the air ride on this thing. But if you still have a question, go ahead and comment and I'll get it answered for you. But that's gonna be it for this video. The next one, I'm gonna get this thing fully detailed, buffed, get all the dog slobber out of it, and get it packed up ready for a road trip. So check it out.